First of all, we would like to welcome you all and send you a warm greeting from Washington, D.C. We will now proceed to make some small announcements related to technical issues and how will the moderation be conducted. So during the meeting, the moderators will have the floor and all the participants will be placed on mute. When the presentations are finished, then there will be opportunities for dialogue and questions. The participants can use the chat feature that is located under the participants list, and with this feature you can use it to send questions or comments, and then the host will prepare a list of comments and will announce it in the order that it's received. Once a question is answered, and due to time constraints, there may be no time for follow-up questions. So if there are any additional questions and there is some constraint of time, then we will send all the answers by email, or we will follow up through the online communities of I10 with the forums. If there are any technical difficulties during the session, you will be able to send a chat to the moderator. You can find the moderator in the chat box, in the participants list. And now I have the pleasure to give the floor to Adriana Vilela, who is the specialist of the Office of Education and Culture at the OES, and is also coordinating I10. So, then.
Thank you, Micaela, and good morning or good afternoon to everybody who's out there. It's really very impressive that we have had registrations from 19 countries in the world, not only in the Americas and the Caribbean, but also in other places, other parts of the world. I would like to give you a very, very short brief about the Inter-American Teacher Education Network. The framework of this network is that we are starting this series of webinars, and can we make this larger, the presentation? So basically, the Inter-American Teacher Education Network is a network that has been created as an initiative led by the Ministry of Education of Trinidad and Tobago, starting 8 years ago with the Hemispheric Project. Oh yes, we have somebody here from Trinidad and Tobago who's very proud. Well, I do not have time to tell you all the story, but the story is on the website. You will be able to see the URL of the website. So the point now is not to give you the story of this network, but to tell you that in the framework of this network is that we are starting this series of webinars. No, it's not changing.
Yeah,
we are acá. Okay. Okay. So basically, this network is a network of leaders in teacher education. It is completely focused on teacher education issues, and the spirit is to share knowledge, experiences, best practices, policies, programs in the field of teacher education. For 2011 until July 2012, the plan is to focus on 3 specific activities. One is the delivery of professional development in technologies and information and communication technologies for teacher educators mainly, even if we are intending to open the scope and also offer the course for primary and secondary school teachers. We are offering this virtual space, internet tools like forums and wikis and blogs to share articles, to share research, to share and to open up a space for dialogues on different topics of teacher education at the level of teacher education and also the professional career of teachers in service teachers. And we have a small fund also for technical assistance among countries in the Americas. So those countries that have good practices or good programs in the field of teacher education and the teacher career can share it with other countries. So we are planning to fund teams from one country to other countries. What you see here is the website, the main screen of the I10 website. You will have the URL at the end of the presentation. And here you can see the main screenshot of the I10 community called RIED in Spanish because of the acronym. So to be able to participate in the community, you have to register, join the community, but otherwise you can also witness and observe the things that are happening as long as you do not want to post yourself. What you see here is a screenshot of one of the forums, the forum that has been opened with the results of the survey that we did in the past 3 weeks about school bullying or violence in schools. We received 500 responses to those surveys of teachers all around the Americas and even 3 more countries in the world, giving us their feedback about this particular problem in schools, which is all over the world. Okay, this is the countries that are joining today. Very impressive, in fact. So you can see that there's a very interesting mix of people here who can give us their opinions and chat about what this problem looks like around the world. So welcome to everybody. Really, it is a pleasure to have you all here, and we hope that this is only the start of a long conversation and sharing of programs and ideas and policies around the world to tackle with this phenomenon that is increasing really everywhere, as we are going to see we listened to Romina, who's here by me, who's the specialist here, who's in charge of the InterAmerican Program of democratic values and practices within the Organization of the American States.
Good afternoon or good morning to everybody. It is a pleasure for me to be here. I'm really thankful to Adriana Vilela and I10 for this invitation. They are doing a great work in this teacher network, and thank you for being there. All your questions are very welcome, and if we don't have time here, we can continue talking in the forum in I10. First, I'm going to talk about the Inter-American Program on Education for Democratic Values and Practices, which is the program I'm coordinating and at the Office of Education and Culture. This program was officially adopted during the fourth Inter-American meeting of Ministries of Education in Trinidad and Tobago in 2005. And this program was structured in 2006, and it is composed by 3 main components that mutually reinforce each other. These components are professional development and educational materials, research and analysis, and exchange of information and cooperation. Through these components, our program it is aimed at promoting a democratic and peaceful culture in the Americas. And when we are talking about a peace culture in the Americas, we are talking about different lines of action that we pursue in these three main components. But I would like to highlight two of these actions that can be found in, for example, our professional development component. We have a course that it's a course for educators, a distant course for educators for Caribbean teachers. It was a 3-year pilot project with that was developed with Jamaica, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, and and Saint Lucia. These countries implemented this online distant course. At least 250 teachers participated, and this course was about building a democratic classroom. The objectives of this course are not only to provide teachers with innovative or creative teaching strategies, but also what we would like to create through this course is a democratic environment. We need teachers to understand, not only to believe in democracy. We want teachers to understand what is living in a democratic society. Democracy is not only a regime, a political regime, it's a way of living. So we like teachers to understand the principles of democracy. Then, of course, accompany this understanding with teaching strategies, innovative, creative, interactive teaching strategies. We don't have the final results of our evaluation. We are reviewing the last reports made by experts that we contract for the evaluation of this distant course, and the course have very successful results. Not only at the classrooms from every teacher that participated, where this classroom have a better democratic environment, but also what happened is that teachers felt more comfortable on teaching innovative and creative to their students. You know that when you teach, it's a marriage of content and pedagogy, and sometimes in our countries we stress pedagogy, we stress knowledge, and pedagogy and knowledge has to go together. And this is something that is very difficult in teachers training courses, because some of them think that the most important thing is innovative teaching strategies, and other courses just stress the knowledge to be a specialist in one content. What we would like and what we wanted is the marriage between content and pedagogy. And what we like is that every teacher through this course, not only civic teachers, but math teacher, language, literature teachers, every teacher can be comfortable and teach in a democratic environment. We don't think that civic principles has to be learned only by civic or social sciences teachers. All the teachers has to learn this, because you know that school violence. I have studied education and a master in education, and what I have some of my professors says that violence at schools are a question of authority, and authority is a question of action. If there is no authority, is the same as saying that we don't have action. The lack of authority is the lack of action at schools, and the lack of action sometimes comes when you don't know what to do, how to face increasing problematics like violence that not only is placed inside the school, but violence is increasing in our societies. And this, it's a kind of contagious effect in our school. So it's very important to strengthen and provide teachers with training and opportunities to strengthen their authority. And this is something that we pretend through our course. Another line of action that we have is the role of arts and communications media in promoting democratic citizenship. We can't show today a video, but we invite you to see the video that was produced by the OAS. Many areas of the OAS, education, culture, youth, produces a video where it shows the effects of the use of arts and culture in education. So this is one line of actions that we have. We have publish an online bulletin on this. I invite you, and also I can post in the forum the online bulletin that it's available free of charge in our website about the role of arts and communications media in promoting a democratic and peace culture in the Americas. We have also carry out a seminar in Dominican Republic in June 2009 about this. We make education and culture officials sit together and talk about how education and culture areas can dialogue, can interact. And now, and I invite you, if you have promising experiences in education and culture, we invite you to send them to us because we are building a portfolio in promising experiences of education and culture. So you are very welcome to send us your experiences, but of course I think in 15 days we are sending a formal call for experiences, but I'm calling for this experience here, so you can start sending them. Another program that we have, it's called Armando Pass. Armando Pass in English is building peace. Armando is in Spanish a name. It's the name of a person. A boy can be named Armando, but in English the translation is building peace. Last week we developed a regional forum in Guatemala. Armando Pass is a program that aims to strengthen youth organization through training these youth organizations in the use of communications media to foster their creative expression of ideas, demands, stimulate them to be part of decision-making processes in the public sector. We would like youth to be one of the main actors in the process of decision-making of any public policy. So you know that in Central America, violence is an increasing phenomenon. You can imagine what happened at the schools. Youth think that they are losing their opportunities to have a better life. So violence is gaining not only the street, but it's gaining their life. So they want to fight against the violence, and the only way is building peace, taking care of each other, strengthening youth organization, strengthening the ties between youth. We promote the integration between youth. We also promote the integration between the youth of the different countries that are part of the project. We have youth from Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, and El Salvador, and in the near future, Honduras will be part of this project. So I invite you to visit Armando Pass. And if you would like more information, of course, we can provide you in the forum too. Armando Pass is www.armandopass.org. Armando, I can write it for you. I'm sorry, I don't know all the potential of this technology. Oh, something is. And as I told you, the regional forum was held last week in Guatemala, and we had the attendance of representatives of ministries of education, youth, and culture, people who dialogue directly with youth, sit at the same table. So youth from Guatemala, El Salvador, Panama, Nicaragua sit together with these officials, also with entrepreneurs from the region, very important people, and together think about strategies to overcome the difficult situation that is going through Central America, and especially these countries that I mentioned. Finally, we are going to show you some of the results that were obtained of the survey that most of you, I think, or complete the survey, or maybe you received the summary because this summary was sent through I10. So we're going to see this result and maybe pose some questions for you to reflect and think about. I can't. Well, these are some technical notes of the presentation, just for you to know that, as Adriana says, we received like 376 responses from 30 countries, 24 of them from the Americas. We have countries from every sub-region of the Americas. From outside the Americas, we're very thankful that we have responses from Morocco, Pakistan, and Uganda. Manifestations of violence in the schools. Almost 80 teachers or people that respond. We don't know if they are teachers, education officials, maybe school authorities, peacemakers. 80% of them said that there are manifestations of violence in the school. And at 12% of them say that the problem is very serious. So this is a common problem in all the schools, almost in every sub-region of the Americas. And the most common forms of violence include physical and psychological manifestations. What can be done? Almost 90% of the respondents note that they use strategies to prevent and address manifestations of violence. Dialogue, reflection, establish rules for the classroom, for the schools, with the student. 35% of them said that they know programs or policies in their country that address this problem, and this is a low percentage of people, of respondents, that say that they know programs or policies, and this has to call our attention, because we need more information about these programs, policies, or initiatives that are developed by public sector or maybe by NGOs. Regarding training, 87% of the survey participants are that teachers don't receive adequate training. So this needs to be addressed. So the teachers are not receiving the adequate training, so they are not prepared to address these problems, not only inside the classroom, but also inside the schools. In the education community, teachers, school authorities, parents, all together has to dialogue, and they have to dialogue and to address the problem. It is necessary that not only teachers, but also school authorities, parents, and also students receive training for this. So it's not only a problem of a teacher, is not only a problem of the student, it's a problem for all the education community. Regarding obstacles, 56% of participants consider that there are obstacles. And for example, it's the lack of resources, lack of education and training of teachers. Also, one thing that we highlighted yesterday in the webinar that we make with our Spanish-speaking participants is that there's no enough knowledge, specific knowledge about violence. So how you can address this problem if you can't identify adequately? So because we know that violence exists in the schools, but how we call it, which concepts and strategies, which of them, how are you implementing them, and which is the problem that is detected in one school, because the schools are not the same, even in the same city and also in the same country. Schools are different, they have different problems, and violence is not only a question of vulnerable sectors of our society. So in schools where they have high class students, they also have violence problems, and teachers are not well trained to address them, because violence is in the surrounding of the schools. Violence is in the society, and the school it doesn't matter if the school is from a rich or a poor neighborhood. The school suffers this violence in the society. 30% of survey participants report that they know support materials for the preparation of teachers to prevent or treat the manifestation of violence. Once again, this percentage is very low. So once again, we need more knowledge, we need more dissemination of the materials that are ready for teachers, school authorities to use. So most of the materials are produced maybe by the government, maybe by private editorials, and also by NGOs. So all the actors that work in the development of education materials, they have to make a stronger, bigger efforts for the dissemination of these materials. And once again, specific materials, specific knowledge. Well, and this is the end. One of the things or the questions I would like to pose is it's a kind of conclusion that I have from reading the different results of that this survey shows. And is there, for example, schools are going through different institutional changes, for example, the creation of student councils. Are these student councils a kind of alternative, alternative tool to afford or to create a better school climate? Can an institutional engineering contribute to strengthen a school and to strengthen teachers, the school authorities? So I think that this is a question that it's beyond the training. No, it's beyond the training of teachers. It's beyond the training of school authorities, principals. It's beyond training students. This is a question of how the institution, the school as the institution, manage the situation of violence. In some Latin American countries, for example, I'm from Argentina, the school now is not only the school. The school is the only place where students, the children and youth, can go for mainly in vulnerable, for example, neighborhoods, because if they go to their houses or if they go to the streets, the violence there it's incredible. So the school is the only safe place for them. also is the place where they can eat, because maybe at their houses they can't eat. The school is the place where they can play sports. The school is the place for social relationships. So the school is not only the schools. It's not only the concept of teaching a specific knowledge. The school is the social skills, social knowledge. That's the role of the school. So the question is, do we need to think about a new institutional engineering for the schools? That's my question. And some examples, for example, from Trinidad and Tobago, that they are working in school councils. We provide funding for a proposal for technical assistant mission, where a private institution of the USA that provide technical assistance to governments that are implementing across the Americas student councils, provided the government, specifically the Ministry of Education of Trinidad and Tobago, with technical assistance to implement and strengthen student councils. So this is a kind of democratizing the school. Is democratizing the institution and give a bigger role to students. And that's, for example, something to share.
Well, Romina, we have 3 questions before we move to what does a democratic environment mean within the context of a classroom?
Well, hi, Kellen. It's a democratic environment is it's like I said, not only innovative or creative teacher strategies, but it is the mutual respect between students and teachers. And the teaching, it's not a question of it's not a one-way relationship. Teaching is a two-way relationship, and respect and mutual understanding, and the concept that teaching is transfer the culture. The teachers, for example, has to respect the culture of the students, the background of the students. So create a democratic classroom is not only tolerance, but it's create diversity. Creating a democratic classroom is stimulate not only the individual development or individual integral development of a person, but it's the collective, the social development of a person. We insist a lot that this that innovative and creative teacher strategies doesn't mean any between the students, because democracy is built on collective action, on social action. There's no possibility of thinking of individual action, because every individual action, every decision you make, you have to take responsibility, and the responsibility from the very beginning, from your intention and principles to the consequences of your action. So create a democratic classroom is teaching also responsibility. And when I talk about tolerance, it's because tolerance is a word that it was used in education for democracy like 5 or 10 years ago as a word, as a pretty and beautiful word. Nowadays, this word means like, for example, if I'm tolerating you, I think that you are different, and I am tolerating you, recognizing that you are different. So I look myself different than you. But diversity is not only that I look myself different than me, but I recognize you, and I want to share my culture with your culture. So that's something of the classes of nowadays classroom, that it's, when you talk about intercultural education, it's because you have students from different ethnic, from different religions, but every one of us, besides the fact that you come from an homogeneous society, we are different. We have different backgrounds. We have different stories that need to be recognized inside the classroom.
Thank you, Romina. The second question that we have is from Dina Rosen. She's from Cohen University. Teachers taught, for example, that involve specific action.
Maybe I think Dina is referring to the course for educators, the
Yes,
Caribbean course
yes.
to educators. I think we don't have a lot of time here to go through the different content, but I can mention the units. I have here the units that we go through, and I can
Yes,
publish in the forum the contents, because these contents are available free of charge in our website. Not the contents of the course, but the index of the course is available. So you have the Unit 1, for example, is Democratic Foundations and Citizen Development. The Unit 2 is Teacher and Student Behavior in the Classroom. The Unit 3 is Pedagogical Method. And the Unit 4 is Professional Reflection and Assessment. It's important to say that this course was divided in two parts. One was a kind of theoretical part that is the part of the learning of the teachers in the website. This course was made through UWI, the University of West Indies campus, and the second part of this course was called the practicum. So teachers went to their classroom and implement, with the assistance of tutors, presential tutors, implement the different knowledge that they learn through the course. And we, as I say, we are finishing the evaluation report, so we can share it right now, but it will be available in our website soon. And once again, it's not only about teaching and innovative strategies, because I have to tell you, after the course, if you evaluate teachers before and after the course, they say that before the course they implement these innovative and teacher strategies. So the quantity of times in the week that they implement these innovative and creative teaching strategies didn't change a lot. But the thing is that their students, which we evaluate, say that the environment created by their teachers was a better environment, because these strategies look not only for enhancing or providing students with better opportunities for learning and be more participative, but also students experience a better relationship with other students. So with their peers. Thank you, Adriana. With their peers. So it has an effect beyond the individuals, and that's what we want. And also the self-esteem of the teachers was higher. When I talk about authority and the marriage between pedagogy and content, this helps the self-esteem of teachers. When you put a teacher and you give, for example, in my country, some of the training right now that teachers receive, initial or in-service training, is focused on pedagogy. But then you put the teacher in front of the classroom and students make specific questions on knowledge, and teachers don't know what to say. And other types of training talks about the love knowledge, but they don't say nothing. They don't address teaching pedagogies. So what we need is that marriage, because this is the key for the teacher to be in front of their classroom. And if teachers don't feel good with, and they don't have their self-esteem, this is a conflict in the classroom. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Romina. Next question that we have is from Omri in Morocco. And MENA is Middle East and North Africa region.
I'm sorry.
And he would like to know whether there would be a possibility for these MENA region countries to benefit from programs like this. And of course,
yes. And I invite you, Omri. I think the name is Omri. I invite you to continue the dialogue in the forum, and I will post my email, and we can see what we can do. But the essence of the OAS, and I think the essence of our office too, is sharing, exchanging, promising experiences, and we can do it across the Americas, but we can do it, and we'll be happy to do it outside the Americas if this serves to create and promote a democratic and peace culture.
Of course. Well, is there another question or a comment? If there are, or we can have more questions afterwards. But meanwhile, I would like to introduce you to an organization called Teachers Without Borders, and yes, I'm going to come in front of the camera again. Teachers Without Borders is one of our partner organizations. And among the very many things that they do for education and teachers around the world, one of the programs that they have is another resource is this online or face-to-face or blended. I think that they have several modalities on a course on peace education and resources for teachers on peace education. So I'm going to introduce you to Stephanie Cohen, and I hope I'm pronouncing that well, Stephanie. We are going to make you a presenter now. Make sure that you please activate your microphone and you activate your webcam if you have a webcam, so that people can see you while you speak and tell us about this wonderful program, which is one of the many resources that we are going to upload and share with everybody. I mean, we are intending to create a database of resources that have to do with peace education and conflict resolution. So if you happen to know about other programs, please feel free to share them. All of you are going to receive an email on how to get to the forums and how to share your resources. So from now on, we are going to be in touch with all of you and among all of us for sure.
Well, it's great to be here, and I want to thank Adriana and the other organizers for inviting us. So my name is Stephanie Cohen, and Adriana, thank you, you did pronounce my name correctly. I'm the Peace Education Program Coordinator for Teachers Without Borders. And I'm here today to talk with you about our Peace Education Program, which we're doing a lot of very similar things to what Romina was talking about. So it's great that you can have two different organizations doing similar work. I hope that we can collaborate and strengthen one another's work through this. So my colleague, Deya Castilleja, who is the Mexico Country Coordinator, is also in the chat room as well. So thank you, Deya, for being here. So I'll just briefly go through some information about Teachers Without Borders and the Peace Education Program, and then I hope that we'll have some time for questions as well. So Teachers Without Borders is an international nonprofit organization, and our mission is to connect teachers to information and each other to create local change on a global scale. And we do this through providing teacher professional development opportunities, both online and offline. We connect teachers together virtually through our group site and through online classes, and also through in-person learning communities like workshops and conferences. And our idea is to have local initiatives that have a global impact. And we're always working with local partners and in partnership with local educational authorities to try to develop the best programs. And we focus on local capacity building. So we don't just swoop in somewhere and perform professional development. This is something that we're rather doing with the local teachers in their own context and developing programs that are most relevant to them and developing those programs with them. So TWB has a number of different programs. There's an emergency education program that does a lot of work in earthquake-prone regions in Central Asia, and also have recently moved into Haiti. The Certificate of Teaching Mastery is the Teachers Without Borders sort of signature teacher professional development program, and that can be found both online and offline. Deya is actually one of the facilitators for the online version of that course. TWB also has a journal called the Voice of Teachers Journal, and it's a peer review online journal that teachers can submit articles to, and then that journal is available free online. And then we have several, many different country programs: Mexico, Brazil, Haiti, the US, Central Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. So we're very active in many different parts of the world. And as such, we have our programs available in many different languages. And the Peace Education Program right now has been translated into both English and Spanish, and we're working on the French and Arabic translations right now. And then finally, we have the Peace Education Program, which started in October of 2010. And so why peace education? The OAS survey that Romina was just presenting really gives a strong case for the need for peace education, I think. The survey showed that violence is experienced by many schools, and it's a serious problem. And the survey also showed that there's a need for teacher professional development in peace education and in skills relating to decreasing violence, conflict resolution, and creating peaceful learning environments. So I really believe that the Peace Education Program that we've developed can help teachers to meet these needs. So the guiding principles of the Teachers Without Borders Peace Education Program is that peace is something that can be taught. There's a quote from the UNESCO Constitution that since war begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. I prefer to change that men to human to be gender sensitive, but those are the original words of the UNESCO Constitution. So peace is something that we can learn how to do. We can learn how to be violent, and we can learn to be peaceful. And we need to put more effort into teaching our students how to be peaceful citizens. And the other part is that teachers can be agents of peaceful change. And it's our belief that many, many teachers are already doing so much for peace in their classrooms. Like Romina was saying, and like the survey said, 87% of teachers say that they're using strategies to manage conflict and to prevent conflict. So this program is really about supporting teachers in this role and helping to empower them and strengthen their skills in this role. And not only to be peacemakers in their classroom, but then in the school and the wider community. So the guiding principles of the program, it goes from the theoretical to the practical. So first, understanding key theories that are relevant to peace education, then critical self-reflection on how these theories apply to yourself as a human being. What does this mean to me as a person in my life, whether that's as a teacher, as a mother, as a husband, as a sister? All of these principles and ideas are relevant in all aspects of our lives. And then finally, applying these theories and ideas to your classroom practice. So what does this mean to me as an educator, and how can I put these theories into action? And we really engage with local partners to try to adapt this content and make it most relevant to the local community. So the content, similar to the course that Romina was talking about, moves from the theoretical to the practical. So Unit 1, we talk about the history of peace education, definitions, key thinkers like Paulo Freire, Maria Montessori, John Dewey, and core concepts relating to peace education. Unit 2 is the scope, which is sort of the broad umbrella of different fields that fall under peace education, such as multicultural education, critical peace education, gender and peace education, environmental education. There are about 10 different units within that scope. And then finally, we move from the theoretical to the practical. So thinking about how to teach peace education in everything that we do, not as a separate subject. And then thinking about how to create a culture of peace within the school and our wider community. And each section includes guiding questions to help teachers think about the relevance of these topics, and then questions for comprehension and reflection. And these follow those three guiding principles that I talked about before, sort of understanding the theories, like what does this mean, applying them to your life, what does this mean to me, and how is this relevant to my life, and then putting them into action in your classroom practice. So what makes this program unique compared to other programs? Well, it was created for, by, and because of teachers. It's more of a lens to see everything through. It's not an add-on, as I mentioned before. It's not meant to be a separate subject or something that you do extraneously in your practice. The idea is to get teachers to think about how peace can be a theme that runs through everything that you do in your classroom, from the actual teaching of the material itself to creating a democratic and peaceful classroom environment to just the way you interact with your students. Basically, peace, it's a lens, it's a way of seeing the world. And so we try to help teachers to see that. We provide support in the online environment. Deya and I are always available by email. We have the NIXTE course online, and we have the groups space, which is also a part of creating community. We're trying to foster a peace education community within the Teachers Without Borders collaborative website. Ensuring accessibility, we're trying to deliver it online and offline, so making it as widely available online as possible, but then also having it offline as much as we can as well, particularly in regions where teachers don't have regular access to the internet. And then finally, the resource is intended to be dynamic. So we created it last year, but the intention is to continually shape it, evolve it, add to it as we get feedback from teachers and people who participate with the course. So far, the course is available online, and the link is at the end of this site, and I hope that we can also put the link on the I10 network. So far, about 8,000 people have downloaded it since November. We've had offline workshops in the US, Canada, Mexico, Uganda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Kenya. And then online, we've been teaching the course through a platform called nixte.com. We have two versions. One is a self-paced version where you're paired with a mentor, and you can take the course in a time frame that's suitable to you. And then we've been teaching it as an 8-week course that's instructor-led and where you're going through the course with a group of peers. And I mentioned the collaborative space before. And that's all I have to tell you today. And so that's my email and Deya's email. The link to the curriculum is there, and the Teachers Without Borders website. So thank you all so much for listening and for giving me the opportunity to share this resource with you. I hope that you'll find it to be useful, and I hope you'll join us in the Teachers Without Borders website or on the online course. And I'll stop talking now and open it up to questions.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. And this is what we mean when we say, okay, we need all the resources that you and us know around the world. And this is what we mean when we are saying that we are intending to really share. And this is what the Inter-American Teacher Education is about. It's about horizontal cooperation and trying to gather, be a hub for everything that's out there in different themes, and try to bring them together for everybody to know about it. So if you have any questions, for Stephanie. Feel free to ask them on the chat right now, or if you have any comments. So Dina is asking, who receives the education you provide, Steph?
Is my mic still
yes.
on? Yes. Okay. So it's intended primarily for teachers. However, we really have had a wide variety of people taking the course. So we designed it with K-12 teachers in mind, but also the inclusion of community leaders or nonprofit workers. And in my experience with both giving offline workshops and with teaching the online course, we've had a really wide range of people taking it, from formal school teachers to nonprofit workers, to people who are working in education in different areas. And some work in international humanitarian work or development work. So it's really been a wide variety. And the course, I would say, is useful for all of those people. And it's definitely my firm belief that we're all educating, whether we're formal teachers or not. We're sort of always teaching and learning in everything that we do. So I think that peace education is relevant to everyone. Yes, Deya was just saying, even in the health field, a group of Mexican nurses is taking the peace education program. And also in Mexico, we're going to be starting a program for parents, so that the parents of the children at the schools where peace education is being introduced can also take the peace education course. And ideally, then they would be supporting these principles and ideals in their homes as well, thus reinforcing the concepts and hopefully expanding the culture of peace. So Marva's asking, do you collaborate with members of the GPAC? Marva, can you tell me what that acronym stands for? No, I have not been partnering with the global, we haven't been partnering with them, but that's something to look into. Thank you. And Kenneth is asking where to start. Kenneth, I would say send me an email and maybe we could discuss possibilities.
Well, thank you very much to everybody. I was just saying goodbye to everybody and telling everybody that you will receive an email with the instructions on where all the links to these resources are. We are also recording the webinar, and we are going to post the link for you to share with other people that maybe have not been able to assist to the webinar, but we are going to put it out there for everybody. So if there are no more questions, I think. Okay, thank you. Thank you, and thank you all of you for being there and for being so enthusiastic, and because you all stayed there. I guess that maybe that's success. We can call that success, right? And see you soon. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch from now on. Thank you and goodbye.